All right, let's jump right into this explainer. I am so pumped to have you here today, mostly because we're skipping all the usual preamble and diving headfirst into this totally mind-bending, fascinating journey of identity, consequence, and choice. We are unpacking Claudia D. Reid's incredible story, One Man, Three Lives. And let me tell you, this isn't just your standard sci-fi romp about parallel universes. It's actually this profound, gritty exploration of the human soul. So let's get into it.
Okay, picture this. You're standing in your totally ordinary, maybe slightly cramped Murray Hill apartment. You've just come home from a local coffee shop. You reach over to turn off the kettle, but out of the corner of your eye, the full-length mirror right next to your counter is shimmering, like it's visibly pulsing with this strange violet and red light. You reach out, expecting to tap cold, hard glass, but your fingers just slip right through. The surface literally ripples like water. And when you step closer, you don't fall. The text describes it perfectly. Falling wasn't the right word. It felt like being taken apart. Your physical body basically dissolves into light and sound. That is the exact, totally disorienting moment our main guy, Tom Peters, is violently pulled away from everything he knows.
And boom! That throws us right into the central psychological dilemma of today's explainer. If you met every version of yourself, which one would you actually forgive? I really want you to keep that heavy, deeply personal question rolling around in the back of your mind as we follow Tom through the multiverse. Because the stakes here, they aren't about fighting off aliens or stopping some massive global apocalypse. No, the stakes are entirely internal. They're intimate, and honestly, they are emotionally devastating.
Section 1. Through the Looking Glass.
So before all the mirror madness, Tom Peters lived a pretty predictable, quiet life. He wrote clean code, drank black coffee at the Rainlight Cafe in Greenwich Village. You know the drill. And it's at that cafe where he meets Elisa. She's a visual artist, and for the first time in forever, Tom feels this real spark of possibility. But just as he's starting to get drawn to her, he goes home, finds that shimmering violet mirror, and steps right through. The absolute tragedy here is that this mirror yanks him away from Elisa the artist, literally just as their story is taking off, dropping him completely into the unknown.
When reality fractures, it essentially splits into three totally distinct realities. It's like a giant puzzle. In Universe 1, Tom is our original guy, the Wanderer, who just met Elisa the artist. Over in Universe 2, Tom is this gentle history teacher, and Elisa is a professor trapped in a deeply fractured marriage. And then there's Universe 3. This is the darkest reflection. Here, Tom is a violent abuser, and Elisa is a criminal profiler who's just waiting on divorce papers. Let's break down exactly how this turns into a total emotional nightmare.
Section 2. The Suburban Illusion.
So when Tom steps through the mirror for the very first time, he lands in this gorgeous home. We're talking hardwood floors, soft jazz playing in the background, and suddenly he's got a wedding band on his finger. It feels like ultimate safety. He quickly figures out that the version of himself native to this universe, let's call him Tom 2, is this super gentle, patient high school history teacher. But Elisa, who is a professor here, is really distant. She's actually living a double life. And when our original Tom follows her out one rainy evening, he gets hit with this mind-bending, painful twist. The dangerous stranger tearing apart Tom 2's marriage is him, our Tom. He has literally become the affair partner, breaking his alternate self's heart. Wild, right? We actually get a recovered journal entry from Elisa the professor that shows just how deep this despair goes. She writes, "He lies beside me every night like a ghost wearing my husband's face. My husband is a tomb, and I am suffocating." Man, that just hits you, doesn't it? It perfectly captures the rot of having safety but zero true connection. It really makes us wonder, are we settling for a safe routine that's slowly suffocating us, or are we chasing some dangerous passion that ends up fracturing the people we love? For Tom, the guilt of realizing he's the homewrecker is just too much, so he bolts through another mirror.
Section 3. The Dark Reflection.
Fleeing all that guilt, Tom shatters the boundary again, and this time he inherits a life that is just pure devastation. Meet Tom 3, the broken man. Imagine how horrifying it is for our original Tom to suddenly wake up in a body with bruised knuckles, dirt caked under his nails, and this grimy, tarnished wedding band. The apartment reeks of stale beer and rotting takeout, and honestly, the most chilling detail? There is a black sheet pinned over the bedroom mirror, because this version of Tom absolutely cannot bear to even look at his own reflection. It's just the suffocating shame of a guy who's entirely surrendered to his darkest impulses.
And the Elisa in this universe, she isn't a warm artist or a conflicted professor. She is a criminal profiler carved straight out of steel.
While Tom 1 is standing there desperately confused, holding his hands up, trying to apologize for mistakes he literally doesn't remember making, Elisa 3 is just analyzing him with this ice-cold professionalism. She actually calls him a ticking bomb. She's got divorce papers drawn up, a restraining order ready to go, and she genuinely, legitimately fears for her life. This forces Tom 1 to confront face-to-face what he is truly capable of becoming.
Section 4. The Convergence. Okay, this is where the tension goes off the charts. Everything across these three realities bleeds together on the rain-soaked streets of Queens Village. It's 3:04 a.m. Tom 1 manages to flee back to his original apartment, totally sick with guilt over everything he's witnessed. But just moments later, his bathroom mirror ripples this dark crimson color, and Tom 3, the broken, violent version, steps through holding a baseball bat. It's clear he intends to do the unthinkable to Elisa 3. Tom 1 dives back through the mirror, intercepting him right in the middle of a storm outside her cafe. It is a heart-stopping moment. Tom 1 has to literally talk down his darkest self, begging him to truly look at Elisa and realize she isn't his enemy. Finally, Tom 3 breaks down. The bat drops, and the entire universe just shatters.
As soon as that bat hits the pavement, reality itself bends. A mirror made entirely of pure light materializes right in the middle of the street. And inside it, all three versions of Elisa, the artist, the professor, the profiler, they all merge into this one impossible layered voice. And the universe drops its ultimate truth bomb. This whole crazy journey, it was never about choosing which woman he gets to keep. It's about choosing a self.
Tom gets pulled into this void known as the other side, where he finally comes face to face with a perfectly centered, whole version of himself. And the message he gets is absolutely profound. You can't save us by running. You can't save us by breaking. You can only save us by choosing. His guide lays it out for him. Tom wasn't jumping through the multiverse trying to save Elisa. He was frantically trying to save himself from loneliness and his massive fear of becoming his worst iteration. Every single version of him only exists because of a choice he either made or completely refused to make.
So he's sent back to his original Marie Hill apartment, and finally, the mirrors are quiet. Now Tom has to make his ultimate choice. The steps are clear. Stop running from loneliness, stop breaking things because you're scared, and just stay. When Elisa the artist knocks on his door, drawn there because they've been having shared dreams of the multiverse, Tom doesn't hesitate for a second. He chooses to be the man who stays. He actively chooses the version of himself who can love without fracturing everything around him.
Section 5. The Mind Behind the Mirror.
Let's pull back the curtain for a second and look at the mastermind behind all this, CLAUDIA REID. Her creative focus aligns perfectly with what we just saw Tom go through. She's all about long-form storytelling that digs deep into survival, resilience, and navigating heavy trauma. The whole sci-fi multiverse thing in One Man, Three Lives, it's not just there for cool visual effects. The mechanics of jumping through mirrors are actually direct, brilliant metaphors for the fractured, messy ways we cope with our own emotional pain. And what's really fascinating is discovering where that gritty, emotional realism actually comes from. Reid wrote a prequel memoir called The Girl Unchosen, and it tracks her own turbulent upbringing in Queens Village back in the 1980s and 90s. When you know her personal background involving childhood neglect and trauma, it completely grounds the devastating climax of Tom's journey, which happens in that exact same neighborhood. She literally took her deeply personal, painful history and transformed it into a story that speaks to all of us.
Which brings us full circle, right back to that haunting question driving this entire explainer. If you met every single version of yourself, the gentle ones, the absolutely broken ones, the ones who ran away when things got hard, and the ones who caused pain, which one would you actually forgive? I want you to look in your own mirror today and really reflect on the choices that are building your reality right now. Who are you choosing to be? I'll leave you with that thought. Keep questioning, and we'll see you next time.